The real Organization 13, also known as the 13 Seekers of Darkness, Organization 13, or the Organization. A group of 13 vessels of Master Xehanort's heart, assembled through time for the purpose of taking place in the Second Keyblade War, fighting against the Guardians of Light in order to form the Keyblade, or the X-Blade, depending on how you like to call it. In this video, I am going to go over the history of this version of the organization. I already went over the original Organization 13, and you can find that video by clicking the card. And I'm going to go over how they were all brought together, and how each member fits into the organization, how they were defeated, and where they're at this point in the story. Before we get into that, guys, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me. And let's go ahead and get into it. So basically, to go over the history and to explain how the plan was actually laid out, we've got to go back quite a ways. Back to when the older Xehanort in Terra's body cast out his heart, creating Xemnas, his nobody, and Ansem, his heartless. Before reforming in the modern day, Ansem, technically Xehanort's heart, was sent back in time to meet his younger self and task him to seek out as many splinter versions of himself as he could, granting his younger self the ability to travel through time. His younger self would then go forth through time and look for hearts he deemed worthy enough to join in the organization. So, I'm going to eventually explain how time travel in Kingdom Hearts works in its own video, but basically, just so you know, there are only two ways you can accomplish time travel. One is by using these pods that you see in Union Cross, and that's a whole thing, and you have to know people and have like attachments to get reformed. But we're not going to go there, and that is a running theme with time travel, but like I said, we'll cover that in its own video. The second is by simply sending your heart through time without a body, and when we see someone do this, they will usually just appear as a robed figure, and that's what pretty much young Xehanort does throughout his time travels. So young Xehanort accomplishes his mission, collecting the necessary hearts from different points in time, with them all finally meeting where nothing gathers. The place with all of the organization seats in their hideout, and you'll see that, yeah, right here. At this point, their plan is revealed to Riku and Mickey while they're attempting to make Sora the 13th vessel. However, this meeting was only able to happen for a short time, and eventually all of the darknesses would return to their point in history where they were pulled from, letting history play out as it was supposed to. And kind of presumably not really having memory of this meeting, because then they would have been known of future events and probably been able to save themselves. But anyway, we'll get into that. After this, the Lights hurry to find their members, and the organization reinstates the replica program in order to bring the hearts of the members that were trapped in the past to the present day, which does eventually succeed. However, this was not all they did. They would send some members to look for a mysterious box, which ends up being the one the Master of Masters tasked Lucio with keeping safe, as well as seeking out the new Princesses of Heart, because the original Princesses of Heart have passed on their lights to other princesses. So this is where we get Anna, Elsa, and Rapunzel. And they did that so in the event that all of the lights couldn't be found, they would have a backup plan. Currently, the only new Princesses of Heart we actually know about are Kairi, because she did not give up her light, Rapunzel, Anna, and Elsa. This was more or less unnecessary, as all of the lights were assembled. The organization would meet them in the Keyblade graveyard and clash, ultimately reforming the Keyblade. Unfortunately, we never get to see their ultimate plan come to fruition. See, Xehanort believes that darkness and light should exist in perfect balance, so he planned on using Kingdom Hearts to recreate the world to how he wishes it. And just before he could enact his plan, the lights lock him in time, since he basically had to turn himself into an open door to travel through time, sending him to Scala ad Caelum, where he would have one final showdown with the Guardians. And upon his defeat, with his heart finally at peace, thanks to the help of Master Ericus's heart, the two old friends finally move on to the other side, so he basically just dies. Just real quick, so to classify who Master Ericus is, he was a childhood friend of Master Xehanort who lived with him at Scala ad Caelum and trained to be Keyblade wielders together. He was the master of Terra, Ven, and Aqua, and he was defeated by Terra in Birth by Sleep, but a part of his heart resided within Terra because everybody thought Terra killed him. And with him dying, that was pretty much the end of the organization. So now we can actually get into the actual characters that you have been seeing on your screen thus far. So number one is Master Xehanort, the original incarnation of Xehanort and the leader of the real Organization 13. He is a Keyblade master who masterminded all of the chaos and destruction that has besieged the realm of light thus far in our story. He seeks to forge the Keyblade and use the power of Kingdom Hearts to fulfill his master plan, which we just went over. So he attacks using attributes of darkness, light, nothingness, neverness, fire, ice, and lightning, which kind of makes sense since he's the ultimate big bad. He has access to everything. His weapon is the Keyblade, known as the Gazing Eye, and the Keyblade. Upon being defeated by Sora and the rest of the Guardians of Light, Xehanort moves on to the other side, and he dies. So we don't really need to go over him. This entire story is Xehanort's story. It was all his plan. Number 2, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness. Master Xehanort's Heartless through Terra Xehanort. His missions were to both enable Xehanort's younger self to travel through time, and oversee Maleficent gather the 7 Princesses of Heart. Though he possessed Riku to regain a physical form to go after Kingdom Hearts, Sora put an end to his plans. His darkness lingered within Riku until the boy put an end to him. Despite this, Ansem's heart was collected by young Xehanort prior to his death and brought to the future to act as a member of the real Organization 13. It's kind of hard to say when he would have done that because technically Xehanort was only ever reformed for a short period of time, so my guess would be is that young Xehanort found him while his heart was residing in Riku. So it's after he got defeated by Sora, but before he was completely cast out by Riku. Number 3, Xemnas. So I went over Xemnas in the original Organization 13 video, but I'll just run through him here as well. Master Xehanort's nobody through Terra Xehanort. He founded the original Organization 13, however, Sora and Riku, as well as an internal strife, quickly reduced their numbers. Sora and Riku destroyed him, causing him to fade away into nothingness. However, his heart was collected and brought to the future by young Xehanort prior to his death in order to serve as a member of the real organization. And once again, I think that would have happened realistically at any point in time, but seeing as he does know who Sora and Riku are, my guess would be it was right as he was being dematerialized after their final fight. Because that's kind of the only... Though he could have been brought up to speed, that's just kind of the best spot because that's where he was at his most powerful. Though he never really takes on his most powerful form, so I don't know. So he has an attribute of nothingness, and his weapon is known as the Ethereal Blade's Introduction, and he controls all of the sorcerers. And that's plucked straight from his original Organization 13 thing, so I guess he just continues to do that. Number 3, Xigbar. The nobody of Braig, a mercenary hired by Master Xehanort to help speed Terra's descent into darkness. Xigbar was ranked 2 within the original Organization 13, though he ultimately faded away at the hands of Sora and company. Despite this, Braig reverted back into his nobody self shortly after his recompletion, later revealing that he joined Xehanort so he could claim the power of the Keyblade for his own, although this was proven to be a ploy for his true goal. As we find out at the end, Xigbar is actually Lucio. So he has the attribute of space. His weapons are arrow guns known as sharpshooters. He controls the snipers, and after being defeated, he actually just leaves the war and reunites with the Foretellers to further the Master of Masters plan. He actually regains his Keyblade, which he, I guess, just kind of gave up so it could be passed down through the generations, with the All-Seeing Eye attached. Braig actually is the only member that's actively fighting in the Keyblade War to not be destroyed. He just kind of leaves, and we just think he gets destroyed. Number 5, Luxord. Rank 5 of the original Organization 13, and the nobody of an unknown individual. His reasoning for joining the real Organization 13 is currently unknown, although it is hinted that he was reinstated because of an ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within him. He uses the attribute of time, and his weapons are cards known as Fair Game, and he controls the gamblers. Luxord was defeated and reawakened in his human form, though we do not currently know for sure who or where he is. However, it is implied that he is the driver of Yozora in Quadratum. However, before he faded away, he did give Sora a wild card that has kind of yet to come into play in the series, and we don't exactly know what it does. He just says it's a wild card. Number 6, Larxene. The nobody of Elrena, and rank 7 in the original Organization 13. who assisted Marluxia in his goal to overthrow it. Her reasoning for joining the real Organization 13 was to follow Marluxia and because of an ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within her, though Larxene shows no interest in Xehanort's goal and becoming one of his vessels. So we really don't know why she did it. It's kind of just implied she did it because Marluxia did it and she felt like it. So she uses the attributes of lightning, and her weapons are knives known as Fonder, controls the ninjas, and was defeated and reformed in her human body. Like Luxord, we don't know where she currently is. Number 7, Marluxia. Nobody of Lorium and rank 6 of the original Organization 13, who plotted to overthrow it using Sora. His reasoning for joining the real Organization 13 is currently unknown, although it was hinted that he was reinstated because of an ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within him, just like Lorium and Luxord. So he uses the attributes of flowers, and his weapon is a scythe called Graceful Dahlia. He controls the Reapers. Was defeated and reformed in his human body. Like Luxord and Larxene, we do not know where he currently is. Number 8, Syax. He is the nobody of Iza and rank 7 of the original Organization 13. He revealed that he became a member of both the former and the real organization in order to use his affiliations with Xehanort to locate a friend he and Lee befriended in their human years, though he soon became consumed by jealousy when Axel made new friends and seemingly abandoned him. However, he began to have a change of heart and secretly assisted Vexen in his plans for atonement. So he uses the attribute of the moon, and his weapon is a claymore called Lunatic. He controls the Berserkers. He was defeated and reformed in his human body and is currently with the Guardians of Light. Number 9. Terra Xehanort. The result of Master Xehanort possessing Terra in order to acquire a new younger body. After he developed amnesia, he became an apprentice to Ansem the Wise, simply under the name Xehanort, although he later betrays his master with the help of the other apprentices, and soon divides himself into the Heartless and Nobody counterparts. After the destruction of Ansem the Wise, both Master Xehanort and Terra were restored to their original forms, although Terra's heart failed to return to his body since it was captured inside of the Dark Figure. Master Xehanort then placed a version of Terra Xehanort's heart from the past within Terra's hollow body, thus recreating Terra Xehanort. So he actually didn't need a replica because he had an empty vessel to use. And if I had to guess, he just pulled this probably from the time right after he reacquired his memories from when he had amnesia. So right before he split his heart from his body, creating his nobody and Heartless. So he uses the attributes of Earth and Darkness. His weapon is a Keyblade, the Gazing Eye, and the Dark Figure. Terra's heart ultimately rejoins his body, casting out Terranort back to his time. Terra rejoined the Guardians of Light, and Terranort, however, would be sent back to his time, where he would split himself into his Heartless and Nobody, and then be reformed. So he's in a really short time loop, kind of. Number 10. Dark Riku. So the time-displaced heart of the Riku replica when he was brainwashed in Castle Oblivion, having been brought to the future by young Xehanort in order to serve the real Organization 13. He uses the attribute of darkness. His sword is a replica of Soul Eater. Riku replica would be sent back to his own time and be defeated by Riku, however his heart would find Riku and take residence within his heart. This actually gives Riku the ability to dual-wield Keyblades, and how he gets destroyed is essentially the Riku replica's heart that was residing within Riku, which has been with Riku for a long time, cast out his older self from the replica body, so that way Naminé could use it. So it's kind of like a sad sacrifice for him. Number 11, Vanitas. A dark entity that was distracted from Ventus's heart by Master Xehanort. During Master Xehanort's original attempt to forge the Keyblade, Vanitas clashes against Ventus, and the result of their unison would forge an artificial Keyblade. However, due to multiple factors, the attempt failed and Vanitas was destroyed, leaving his heart to be fractured and lost. However, it was recovered by young Xehanort and brought to the future in order to become a member of the real organization. He has the attributes of darkness, fire, and ice, and his Keyblade, called Void Gear, can create the Unverse. And I think he would have had to have been pulled from the point in time, probably from Ventus's heart after they clashed within his own heart. So instead of being cast out, which he was, young Xehanort just found him then and brought him to the future. So then we got number 12, young Xehanort, the younger self of Master Xehanort, who was given the power to travel through time by Ansem as an insurance plan in case he and Xemnas failed on their own. As part of his mission, young Xehanort successfully assembled the many splinters of his heart in the future to form the real organization under his future self's rule, and later deposited all of the time-traveled hearts he collected along with his own into replica bodies. So he uses the attribute of time, darkness, and ice. His weapon is an unnamed Keyblade and unnamed ethereal blades. So he's actually just sent back to his original time to start the plan all over again. He is the start of the entire time loop that is the Kingdom Hearts 13 Darknesses master plan. And finally, number 13, we have Xion, an imperfect female replica of Sora that was presented as the unofficial 14th member of the original Organization 13, who was designed to act as a failsafe should Sora and or Roxas prove to be of no use to their goals. Though she was destroyed and erased from memory, records of her existence remained within Vexen's research, and she was subsequently reconstructed prior to her personality's formation to fill in the real organization's last spot in place of Sora. She uses the attribute of light. Her weapon is a Keyblade, and it's actually the replica of the Kingdom Key. And Xion would regain her memories and rejoin her friends and the Guardian of Light. And I guess they just kind of plucked Xion probably from right after everybody forgot her. That's kind of my best guess as to where they would have gotten Xion from. Now, we do actually have some reserved members. So next we've got Demyx, rank 9 of the original Organization 13 and the nobody of an unknown individual. He was originally a full member of the real organization before he was pushed to being a reserve once Vexen was able to perfect the replica program. His spot instead was taken by Dark Riku. His reasoning for joining the real organization, initially because he was sweet-talked into joining them, although he too possesses an ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within him. He uses the attributes of water and a sitar called Apragio, and he is the controller of dancers. And we actually don't know what happened to Demyx. He just kind of shows up, does his own thing, and then he leaves. Then we've got Vexen, the nobody of Evan, and ranked 4 of the original Organization 13. He was requested to join the real organization by Syax in order to complete his work on the replica program, which would result in the creation of nigh-perfect replicas that could become full-fledged humans and act as vessels for the time-traveling members of the real organization. However, his real motives of joining was to use his work on the replica program to atone for the mistakes he made in the past and to supply his replicas to those who truly deserved them. Secretly, Syax was also assisting Vexen in his ploy as well. He uses the attribute of ice, and his weapon is a shield called Frozen Pride. Vexen would willingly return to his human form. He's actually the only nobody we know of to just do this willingly, and we don't really know how he did it. He just kind of does it. And he returns to his work with Ansem the Wise. Then finally, we've got the replica Master Xehanorts. Basically, these are a dozen replicas created from chosen members of the real Organization 13, excluding Master Xehanort. Their attributes are really variable. Their weapons kind of change depending on which one you're fighting, but eventually, they were all destroyed by Sora. And that is it. That is the real Organization 13, the 13 Darknesses, whatever you guys want to call them. I just kind of love how essentially the entire plot of Kingdom Hearts is just one big time loop, all created by Master Xehanort in a whole attempt to just fuel his desire, essentially, to create a world that he deems to be better than the one they're currently living. But you know what? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Do you think he was going about it the right way? Do you think he was going about it the wrong way? How do you guys think his plan could have worked? I'd be kind of curious to know about that. Did you guys know everything that I went over in the video? Do you want to see me do more of a deep dive into some of these characters? And like I said, all that in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can get around to it. And while you're down there, guys, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me, and I will see you guys in the next video.